meter types are available: the automatic ranging meter and the manual ranging meter. The auto ranging meter has less choices to move the selector switch to, and also the selector switch does not need to be adjusted when reading varying amounts of voltage, current, or resistance. The meter makes those choices for the operator. The operator must keep an eye on the changing engineering units after the value like K and M when in the ohm meter mode. The manual ranging meter makes you work the range switch up and down the engineering unit's scale. The resistance of this valve coil is only 96 ohms and allows for a lot more current flow, about 20 times more, than the relay coil we were measuring. Remember the tire with the pinhole versus the nail hole and the resistance and airflow in CFM. The solenoid coil needs 20 times more current to pull open the valve against that spring that keeps that valve in a normally closed position. NC contacts are actuated, and therefore the ohm meter reads infinite resistance. This series of circuits illustrates how loads become energized, whether they were meant to be energized or not. High pressure seeks low pressure, and will push electrons through filaments as well as a once beating heart. Enclosures are grounded, and the return side of the circuit is wired directly to the enclosure. Touching the enclosure with one hand and at the same time touching terminal 1 or 2 with another limb can electrocute a person. When Homer is touching the high pressure side of the circuit, but not the return side of the circuit, he has not completed the circuit. Therefore, the current is not flowing through his heart, and he is still alive. If he completes the circuit by just merely touching the enclosure door, the high pressure on his right hand will seek the low pressure on his left hand, and Homer could be a dead man. Standing in shoes with wet boots on wet ground while touching the power supply terminals could also kill you. Wear PPE when possible. Ground one lead of the voltmeter with a clip lead and probe with one hand. If only one limb comes in contact with voltage, the chances of injury are minimized to slim or none. You touch the test leads, which are still connected to the current terminals on the meter, to the voltage buses. A direct short across the source voltage occurs inside the handhold multimeter through a low-value resistor. A very high current will flow through the test leads and the meter. If you were working in an area with very low circuit impedance, this fault current can be thousands of amperes, or even tens of thousands of amperes. The test leads in the meter circuitry are not designed to handle such a high current. The test lead or the meter will cause an open circuit. When this happens, an arc will form across the open part of the circuit. If it is not immediately controlled, the arc will cause the air in the vicinity to become superheated and convert into plasma, which is conductive, and allow even more current to flow through the air. This is called arc flash. In extreme cases, it releases the same amount of energy as a few sticks of dynamite. An arc flash victim may suffer fatal burn injuries from the fierce heat. Could this happen? Absolutely. An example of the labeling required by OSHA to instruct personnel in the exposure vicinity about the type of PPE to be wearing before exposure to this particular piece of equipment. Labeling is custom to each piece of equipment. Some pieces may require more protection than others. Some equipment owners are contracting with arc flash consultants to comply with the requirements of NFPA 70E. Choices. The user is working in an enclosure with less than 8 calories energy available for an arc flash to develop. The user is wearing a much lighter 8-calorie suit with an 8-calorie lens and a Nomex smock. Preferably, the user should wear cotton work clothes whenever possible, which also make the best undergarments when wearing arc flash PPE. The user is wearing gloves to protect against arc flash as well as electrocution. Notice these enclosures are not labeled with individual arc flash intensities. Overprotection is better than underprotection. When in doubt, wear a 40-calorie suit even though an 8-calorie suit may be adequate. 40-calorie protection is better than 8-calorie protection. 8-calorie protection is better than just safety glasses and cotton clothes. Long-sleeve cotton clothes are better than synthetic. Never wear synthetic. The point being, breaking the law is discouraged. Reduce your risk. Minimal protection is better than none. New startups, starting up old equipment that has not been used for some time, and equipment operating in lightning storms have high risks of arc flash. Troubleshooting technique steps. 1. Take time to focus on the problem at hand.